Look, you need to take a little bit of that time and energy and focus it on relationship building with the people who fund you. It's a hard thing to do, because you're like, well, but if I go do that, I'm not feeding somebody or teaching somebody or whatever.
Welcome to the Hidden City Podcast. I'm Grant.
And I'm Doug, and we're here to share some of the incredible stories and people from Oak Cliff that you might not know.
We're going to sit down with some of the visionaries, craftsmen, and business owners who have shaped Oak Cliff into what it is today.
Oak Cliff is on the south bank of the Trinity River, a few miles south of downtown Dallas. While technically it was part of Dallas, it was its own city for a long time, and it still has that independent spirit.
We'll dive into the history and the spirit of this place, exploring the different challenges and successes that defined it.
This is The Hidden City, a podcast about the people and the stories that make Oak Cliff extraordinary.
Welcome to this episode of the Hidden City Podcast. Today we have an awesome guest on the show. He's a dear friend of ours. He works here at Wax Space with us, and he's the co-founder of Track 15. His name's Andrew Snow. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Dude, we're so pumped you're on this, man. It's been a long time coming.
I know.
He made a guest appearance in the golf episode.
Oh, that's right. And
but this one, we've been waiting for a long time.
He's been referenced enough, too, by other people, too. Yeah. You're just like, it's time. So, but
appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, man.
Well, Andrew, we've loved knowing you for years now. I can still remember when I first met Andrew, and I think we were at the Davis Street Espresso coffee shop. I quickly then got to work with Andrew for a little bit. He hired me when I had no work.
Andrew.
The man put me to work and brought me into the Go Cliff crew, which we'll talk about, I'm sure. But let's go back further, Andrew. How did you land here in Oak Cliff? How did you first come to Oak Cliff, and what made you fall in love with this place?
Well, I think the best place to start, and I told you guys earlier, I get scared of talking about myself, but I want to start with the end of the story, which is when you guys asked me to do the podcast. I was thinking, what have I done here? And the first thought is my kids and my family, and Oak Cliff is such a central part of their identity. They go to school. We've got one at Sudie Williams, which is north of Lovers, and then Harrison's a freshman at Booker T.
Yep.
So we've got kids that are like not going to school here, and where they're going to school attracts lots of other kids from other communities, and they're part of the Oak Cliff, crew DNA there. And it runs in their identity. And I think it's so cool to think about when they grow up, what their relationship is to Oak Cliff. I mean, it's such a central part of their foundation.
Andrew, I want that.
You've got it.
Here they go. Like, they're starting to get that identity built into them a little bit.
Well, and you can see it. I mean, I think we tried it, but also the people who have surrounded us, the community that surrounded us has, I think, shown to our kids, like, we kind of live in a special place. And it's different than the other places. And so I think the end of the story, at least the takeaway for me, is I'm so glad that we did end up here, because I see life through my kids' eyes and what they're doing. Yeah. And I think, man, this is a special place, and thank God we live here, because if we didn't live here, if we lived somewhere else, I think my life would be totally different, and their lives would be totally different, and probably not in a good way.
That's a great thing to call out.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I have 3 young ones right now, and it's kind of awesome, like you said, seeing it through their eyes. And what was it the other day? The middle child was just like, "Can we go get some macaroons?" And I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, let's go to Liz's shop down the street." And
there's only one place to go.
I know,
and it's the best place.
I know. But it was just like, oh, this is hilarious. And then you're walking to this bakery, you're doing this thing, or you're at the farm, and it's just like there's a bunch of random things that are just like, this is special and weird and awesome, and I just love that it's happening to them a little bit too.
So okay, when I think about what got me here, it's a crazy story where I think this is all meant to be. So I was in a band a long time ago.
Yeah, you were.
And that's right. And in 2003, we played, it might have been one of our first shows in Dallas. We played at the Deep Ellum Arts Festival.
Nice.
And the band that played before us was the Happy Bullets. and I met Jason Roberts,
No
who's
way.
the
Get
singer
outta
of the
here.
band.
Get out.
He was loading his stuff off stage, and we were loading on stage. And we're like, "Hey, I'm Jason. I'm Andrew. Okay." And then we ended up playing a bunch of shows with them. And Jason and his wife at the time, Andrea, they became friends of ours, and we were friends.
That's a wild first
Isn't that
meeting
crazy?
with Jason.
With Jason.
Yeah.
And so when Jason started all this stuff
Mm-hmm.
here, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to be a famous band because he's doing all this stuff. And like, I want to be a part of that. And I'm so jealous of Jason, his ingenuity and creativity. But he was also my friend. And Andrea ended up coming to work with me at SMU for a bit. So our lives got a little bit more entangled.
Yeah.
Then my best friend got married at Kessler Park United Methodist Church. And that was, my wife and I lived at the time in Uptown.
Cool.
And had no idea about Oak Cliff until we came for the rehearsal. And when we drove, we came down Sylvan and then up the hill to Colorado, took a right, and we saw this beautiful church. It was in the summer.
Yep.
We're like, oh my gosh, this is like
It's
3 minutes
beautiful.
away from where we live, and we had no idea it existed.
Yeah.
And so my wife fell in love with it right away. And 2 years later, she wanted to buy a house. I said,
Way to go, Jen.
we're not living in Oak Cliff.
Yeah, I get
It's
it.
too far away.
Yeah, that's the
I'd
reason.
totally forgotten the experience of like driving 2 minutes. And so she's like, well, let me take you to a place to get a beer and let's just sit there and talk about it. So we went to Bolsa.
No way.
What
this
a
is
spot. So
2000
we have her to thank for a lot of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
Jen.
February. It was Valentine's Day, actually,
Nice.
2009. And it was before they'd covered the back patio. It was before that whole thing.
Before it became Encina,
Before all
this.
of it.
Yeah.
And we sat there and I had a beer and I thought, this is the best thing ever. Well, I don't know why. It was an
feeling.
island
Yeah.
by itself on Davis Street. There
It was the only thing there,
nothing
yeah.
around.
Felt real.
It
felt
felt
like,
Yeah, it didn't feel like, I mean, nothing against Uptown and nothing against Highland Park. I worked at SMU.
Sure.
But it just felt like this is where new stuff is happening.
It's the feeling. Yeah.
So that was it. We bought a house in April. 3 months later, moved in.
That's
and
awesome.
then had a kid a few months after that, and then we lived here. But what was crazy is that connection to Jason was there. So the first people that came to our house, Jason Roberts.
Yeah.
The first party we went to was at Jason's house, and we met Amy. I'm looking at my notes here because it's like all the people swimming around Jason's
his sphere.
That whole sphere was Amy and Scott Griggs. He was my neighbor. He lived 3 houses down from
I'm
me.
sure Edwin too.
And
or like some of that
not
crew.
yet,
Oh, okay,
Edwin.
okay.
But I remember going out one of the first nights we went out. It was Scott and Mariana, Amy and Eric and Jason, and then a few other neighbors. And I had no idea at the time what any of these people were building.
Yeah.
Except for Jason, I knew he was working on random stuff.
And for those who don't know, Scott was the city council member
For 8 years.
Ended up becoming and having that seat
Well,
for a good while.
Jason, of course.
Yeah.
Jason's story. I mean, he's done so many things here, but
Better Block,
Odd
all
Fellows,
these
Trades
businesses.
now, Jack of all. I mean,
Oh man, you landed in a good little group of people, man.
That's
kind
the
of crazy.
reason why I start with the end of
Yeah.
the story first, because it's like I dropped in to the middle of what Jason and Amy were doing.
Yeah.
Scott Griggs had not run yet for city council, but
Yeah.
he was about
Interesting.
to be the councilman for 8
Fascinating.
straight years.
Was Bob
That's a
before
long
him?
run,
I
too.
always try to
Bob was
remember.
before.
Bob was,
I think that there was one between Scott and
Okay,
Bob.
okay.
But so Scott was there. My wife joined the Fort Worth Avenue Development Group.
Great.
and
it's awesome.
She met Monty
yeah.
and
I did.
Charlie Purdue. And then at the same time, my wife went to work for an all-women's firm. And she worked with Angela Hunt, who was also a councilwoman and was real close to Scott. So,
Dude, these
we
are
were like,
fascinating connections.
That's really cool that Charlie was back there too. I
Oh,
actually
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know he was. We were gonna have him on the show at some point. He's agreed to it. We just need to find a time, Charlie.
Yeah, come on, Charlie.
But I didn't know he was involved back then. That's awesome.
Oh,
Okay,
he's
cool.
always been kind
Yeah,
of behind
good,
the scenes.
good,
He
good.
and David Spence, I
Yeah,
mean, they're
yeah,
always
of course. Yeah.
back there. But
Great.
that was the crazy thing to me is just
yeah.
I
In
don't
hindsight,
think we
that's such a
realized it
fascinating-
then. It
yeah,
just seemed
sure.
like
Why would you? I mean,
that's just everybody that
your
lives
friends.
here
Yeah.
is building stuff.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
what it felt like.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
you know, we didn't earn it. We just got really lucky that the confluence of all these
Yeah.
people and these projects that they were working on came along. And anyway, our kids got older,
Yeah.
and Harrison went to the Kessler School. And then I realized I needed more friends. Actually, I didn't want more friends, I should say. But I realized I was going to need to make more friends
Yeah.
with neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You were
yeah.
connecting to a new group of people, and you're
Yeah.
like, I need to.
My wife actually would tell me, she's like, you need to do drop off and meet some of
Yeah,
these
you need to get out there a little bit, Andrew.
I don't want to do it. But okay. But when I did, I made a list.
Yeah.
Chris Schultz, met him. Jason Lanier, met him. Manny Valencia, the Moffats, Chris
Yeah,
Moffat,
yeah.
Chris and Becky. I met all these people that were also building things.
Okay.
And these people were part of Dash for the Beads,
Okay.
part of
Yeah.
Rosemont Dad's Club. They were all people who were actively involved trying to
Yeah.
make things better
Yeah.
in the community.
And you met Chris when? Because
Well, so Chris's youngest,
Yeah.
Charlie,
Yeah.
is the same age as my son
Awesome.
Harrison,
Okay.
and they were
That's right.
classmates together in pre-K 1 at the
I
Kessler.
remember them running around Wax Space when it was kind of
Yeah,
just like a
Little
it was,
empty?
it was a lobby kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're like, those two are what are they doing? Just
It does-
climbing things was awesome.
it was like yesterday.
I know.
That swinging
man.
tire too. Do you guys remember that
just
thing?
being
I do,
terrified
yeah.
that it's
Just
going to
some
take out Harrison.
ACLs.
Yeah.
Gone.
Pull the whole thing down, all the roof and everything. But you know that meeting them,
Yeah.
meeting the Schultzes, my wife was making kombucha.
Yeah, I
She
remember
had a
you.
kombucha
Dude,
brewing
that's right.
company.
This.
Yes.
Yep.
And she was selling kombucha
Okay.
at Bolsa Mercado
Nice.
and out of Joy. So we met the Laniers, not just through TKS, but Liz and Jen
Okay.
were working together selling kombucha there. And Ashley Schultz wanted to partner, and they wanted to talk about growing the business. And so that experience brought us closer to the Schultzes, but also kind of highlighted like all the things that you can do in the neighborhood, because their business was literally selling out of anything having to do with Oak Cliff related stuff. And it was an easy ask. Like
Yeah.
Amy, they had started Oddfellows, and they
Yeah.
were selling, I think they had a keg
Yeah.
of the kombucha
Awesome.
on tap
Yeah.
at Oddfellows. And
So
it was
fun.
just cool because you could have an idea. You knew people who were building stuff. People could get together with
they were
ideas.
collaborative. We've heard
And they
that
probably-
time and time again that
Yeah.
there's like an entrepreneurial spirit, but environment that's like conducive to encouraging others. Too.
Yes.
Like I
Yeah.
think that's been, we found that ourselves.
For
We've-
sure.
We've heard that from so many people being like, yeah, use the back of our kitchen or use this.
Yeah.
Or use,
Well, it's like
Yeah,
they know it's hard to start something because
Yeah.
they've started something.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, come, like put your stuff in my store, do whatever.
Yeah.
It's like it's part of the
rising tide lifts all boats.
For
kinda
sure.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of the story. So all these relationships kind of came together with people that I just admire so much, that knew how to make things happen
Yeah.
and do stuff. And they embraced my family, not because
Yeah.
we were special, but just
No.
because we moved to the
You
neighborhood.
were here.
You
Your
know what I mean?
neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I
So-
love, we're sitting in this interview and Andrew has some notes here. In these notes, it is just people. It's like
That's right.
relational.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
like
a really good reflection of
so-
who Andrew is. Too.
that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. I was like, let's do a show about you. And he's like, well, actually, let me talk about all the relationships and people that are there. You're like,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome. I that's like a first for us. On some of this where
100%,
People
yeah.
are just talking about other people in a sense, and it's kind of awesome.
There's some people
Um,
that value that in a way,
Absolutely.
and I know we've talked about
Yeah.
this, but like relationships really are the basis of everything in some ways.
Yeah.
I think of Jordan Gente's interview too, where he's got
Yeah.
a notes list of just people he's met and like
Yeah.
where he met them.
Yeah.
It
And
feels-
I just love when I find people like that.
it
'Cause there's
feels-
not that many people that think this way.
No,
you
and
know?
it feels real in a
Yeah.
world where it's like ChatGPT/social, like it's like, oh no, this is real life.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
is like grounded. It's like I'm gonna get to know this person and we're gonna have a relationship.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
That's-
I don't think anyone trying to do something completely on their own is probably not going to get there.
Yeah.
Like
it's
we
true.
all need people to
Yeah.
come around us, and and help us get stuff. And so, but I've only learned that because I've been surrounded by people who helped me. So
that's Oak Cliff for you is
Yeah.
a lot of this. And I'd say like even a big part of your story too is Track 15. I know we want to kind of get to that.
Yeah.
Did that start out of Oak Cliff or Go Oak Cliff and like these relationships, or like obviously with Chris, I would assume there's parts there, but give us some of the origin story of that.
Okay.
And what it is.
Yeah. So Track 15 is
Awesome.
It's great. Everyone hire him.
Gotta look in the camera.
We're trying to get 1517 to get some Track 15 help right now. That'd be good.
Yeah,
we do back end fundraising support for nonprofits.
Awesome.
So anything we can do to prop up the organization to look good in front of their funders and keep the relationships warm and productive and healthy. That's what we do. And it is 100% born out of Oak Cliff.
Awesome.
I got fired from a big job running fundraising at the Dallas Children's Advocacy Center in 2017, and I'd had a career before that doing a lot of fundraising strategy and I say community organizing, but it's not what it sounds like. I was kind of responsible for creating a lot of groups at SMU and encouraging them to do certain supportive things for the university and trying to kind of codify them so that they were sustainable and long lasting. So that's what I mean by community building. So that's why
you were at SMU first.
I was at SMU from 2003 to 2015.
During like maybe $1 billion campaign
yes,
or something.
Yeah,
right?
I was there from the inception of that all the way to my last day there was the last day of that campaign.
That's crazy.
It was awesome.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
I loved it so much.
Okay.
But I think that SMU gave me the courage to go out and do this DCAC thing, and I was real excited about having this big job, and it was fine. It was hard. I didn't know what I didn't know, and a year and a half into it, it just didn't work out for me. And that was okay because I had these guys. I've got Matt McGoy, I've got Matt Rosen, I've got Manny Valencia again, calling him out, and Chris Schultz. I had these guys who I had gotten to know. Their fellow dads. Their kids were the same age as my kids, and that first day they were like, "Hey, no big deal. Why don't you start thinking about doing things this way?" And they had all built businesses. They had all stepped out, and so they were lending me advice from their own experience. And then Chris Schultz was like, "I love what you've been talking about in terms of generosity and trying to get people to he wanted to work with nonprofits, and that
was the world he wanted to go after.
I could help him get into that, and so he was like, why don't you do your thing and try to establish a framework for generosity, and I'll use my business background to help get you going, and together we'll do this. And the first thing he did the very next day that I agreed to this was he went to Common Desk. Y'all remember Common Desk?
I do.
We do, yeah.
We met in there a few times together.
That was
back
the
in the
Go
day.
Cliff days.
Yeah.
Where
That's right.
We had some meetings there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this was 2017, pre-Wax Space.
Yeah,
right.
dude.
And we had, like, the very next day, he was like, okay, I got us a membership, so meet me here. And we went and sat across from each other, and we're like, what do we do?
I love
That's
that.
awesome.
Well, here's where the Oak Cliff thing kicks in, okay?
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
Alethea and Mackenzie were the two managers at Common Desk. And after about a year of Chris and I starting to work well together, they did this thing through Common Desk where they I don't even know, it was like a contest or something, but somehow we came on top, and they named us the hottest startup out of Common Desk or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it was, God love them, like it was a thing. It was a gimmick.
It's
Like,
great.
we
It's
didn't
great.
earn
I love
but
it. I love it. I
they
love
did
it.
it, and we got so much attention from that.
Oh, that's awesome.
We got a write up
Good.
in D Magazine.
Good.
Amazing.
Good. That's awesome.
Hannah Lundeen, y'all remember?
Yeah, of
Hannah?
course.
Yeah, of course.
So Hannah, like, she was our first employee, and
Okay.
she saw that article in D Magazine, and she was like, I want to work for nonprofits.
Get out of
I
here.
want to reach
I
out
wanna
to you.
That's
And
wild.
so
So cool.
she and her husband, like, not only did she come work for us, but they moved here. They bought a house in Oak Cliff and loved Oak
Wow.
Cliff. So anyway,
Huh.
it's 100% Oak Cliff born.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
y'all know Alice Zaccarello at the Well.
Okay.
So the Well community serves individuals
Oh,
with
yeah.
mental
Yeah.
illness and oh my gosh, they're an incredible Oak Cliff-based organization. And Alice was the first one to step out and hire Track 15.
Cool.
First client.
She was our first client, and
That's
she
amazing.
was so brave. And and then Wes Keys, who y'all have had on
course,
the
Wes.
podcast,
Yeah, good old
his
Wes.
brother Bill's, he was on her board,
Okay.
and then went to Brother Bill's to be their executive
Okay.
director, and he hired us. And he wasn't client one, but he's
Pretty close.
he's
at the
pretty
top. Yeah,
close.
that's awesome.
And then the deck park.
Yeah, Southern Gateway.
Southern
April,
Gateway.
we've had her
Yeah,
on
help
too.
her.
Maybe these are all the people that have just always referenced Andrew in all their shows.
Well,
Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
so Edwin Cavanis actually was the he and Mike Gruber were the chairman of that board.
Yeah.
and really the guys who were spearheading the initiative.
Mhm.
And Edwin and Chris were friends, and so Edwin was like, "I need you guys to help us with the fundraising
Yeah.
stuff." And that gave us a huge
Yeah,
inroad into, it kind of gave us some credibility because it was
Absolutely.
a
It's
big,
a big project. Absolutely.
And April, I met April, who runs the
Yeah.
park. She was on the Go Cliff
That's
board,
right.
I know.
and April connected with Edwin. And I mean, it's just
it's all.
It's funny to like
it's
hear all the names and the connections because it's like we all have gotten to know all these people, but
yeah,
that those were some of your first interactions with them is like, oh, that's interesting. Like,
And you're getting hired by some of them.
Right.
Some of them are encouraging you to. Like,
Yeah.
They're giving
Yeah.
you some of that confidence too. Like it does feel very community. Yeah, I could see your answer being, well, it's so tied to it.
yeah. I mean, this I don't
Yeah.
see how this would have worked anywhere
Otherwise,
else
yeah.
because we already, even if I didn't know April, I knew Amy and I knew
Yeah.
Jason. I knew people that she knew, and that's how we got tied together. And
awesome.
I think that kind of stuff
It's-
is
oh.
cool. How that it all weaves together.
yeah.
You
Oh, it's
know?
amazing. So let's talk. I mean, we're talking about Oak Cliff, the people in Oak Cliff. Let's get to more of Track 15's mission and work. We're talking about working with nonprofits to help them with their fundraising.
Yeah.
Why does Track 15 need to exist? What
Yeah.
what is it about nonprofits that they need this help? And then how does that look in the Metroplex with giving? I mean, break that down for us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys work with a
That's
nonprofit.
right.
You
We
know
work
that
for a nonprofit.
they're they are they're always stretched
Yep.
for resources, and not just money. I mean, everyone's stretched for money, but energy and the time that is required to put everything you want to put into a mission. I
Yes.
mean, it's scarce. It's hard to channel all that. So when you say, look, you need to take a little bit of that time and energy and focus it on relationship building with the people who fund you, it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, but if I go do that, I'm not feeding somebody or teaching somebody or whatever. So the more that we can help offload that capacity, and we talked earlier about propping them up, like how can we do a lot of work behind the scenes to make nonprofit leaders
Yes.
feel like they can sort of set aside all the thinking and worrying about relationships until it's time to step into their time with us. You
Yeah.
know? So like, the 1 or 2 hours a week that they meet with us, they're like, okay, this is when I need to focus and make sure I'm moving these relationships along.
Yeah.
And we want them to be saying like, thank goodness Track 15 is worrying about that with me,
Yeah.
rather than I worry about this by myself and
Yeah.
it keeps me
Yeah.
up at night.
Yeah.
That's our why, so to
Yeah.
speak.
That and generosity can't be hacked.
Generosity can't be
No,
hacked.
yeah,
That's
that's
right.
right.
Unhackable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, you
It's the
can't make
relational side of this. Yeah.
you can't make somebody say yes. You can't get in
Yeah.
their head and flip the switch from no to yes.
Yeah.
It's just not no grant in the world can do it.
Yeah.
No special lunch,
Yeah. Yeah.
can do it. It's just what happens in their heart and their
Yeah.
head. is going on just with them. And so the relationships are important because they make it easier for them to say, man, I love this guy.
Yeah.
Of course I'm going to say yes. You know?
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
So I think what's interesting about Oak Cliff, did you ask me that?
Yeah,
already?
I was curious
Oh,
what
no,
like.
you're going to that. I threw your mantra back at you guys.
did,
and
I know.
I messed
Threw
you
me
up.
off.
But no, he's talking about
No.
generosity and
Yeah.
And like, yeah, we could talk about Oak Cliff generosity. I think that's an
Yeah.
interesting thing to talk about
Yeah.
because you were naming some nonprofits based in Oak Cliff. They're Oak Cliff businesses or groups, but why here? Why in this place is Track 15 staying busy?
So what I think is important is I know a lot of people, a lot of my neighbors in Oak Cliff and my dad bros.
Yeah.
So lame.
Dude.
I'm
I'm starting to get some dad bros.
Dad bros.
It's kind of fun. It is.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it is. It's the
Good for-
life.
it
It's the stage we are in life.
It's
Dude,
the life.
But they are some of the most generous people. And thank goodness, because if they weren't, it'd be really hard to have the
Yeah.
friendships I have with
Yeah.
them. So those guys, most of the people that are on this page,
Yeah.
they are incredibly generous, which is great. But the bigger picture, I think, that's interesting in Dallas as it pertains to Oak Cliff. There was an article written in 2016 in D Magazine. I printed it out. He's referencing a Dallas Business Journal article that is commenting on which zip codes in Dallas are the most generous.
Interesting.
And the Dallas Business Journal confirms what we all suspect, which is North Dallas is the most generous. Or
Highland
the
Park
most
gives
money.
a lot of money.
Highland Park,
Wherever,
University
North
Park,
Dallas, yeah.
Preston Hall,
The
all
parks,
those.
yeah.
Up north is very dark on the heat map.
Yeah.
And so what he did was he actually adjusted, and I'm not using the right words, but he basically said, what is the ratio of giving versus gross income?
Interesting.
So when he did that, the whole map turned the same color green.
Oh.
And so the idea that he's saying is generosity can be measured by the amount of dollars that come in. But if you look at it as how much of your own wealth that you give, that's a different way of looking at it. It's basically saying Dallas as a whole is a very generous place.
That's fascinating. Because I could see how you'd see the first map and you'd be like, okay, well, that's interesting. But to learn that, no, everybody's generally giving and doing so generously is that's
so
a cool story.
He uses, you guys are, actually, this is printed. This is the Bible piece. As Jesus looked up, you know this one? And he saw the rich putting their gifts into the temple treasury. He also saw the poor widow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when
Truly,
you were
I
talking
tell
earlier.
you, this poor widow has put in more than all the others.
Yeah.
So
That's actually where my mind went when you were talking about it a minute ago. It's
yeah,
like-
well, that's where he tries to take you in this article. I think it's really interesting. So what's really cool is, Dallas Business Journal confirms North Dallas is the most generous.
They give a lot of money. Yeah.
And he says, but if you adjust it and make it a ratio, all of Dallas is just as generous, which is a really cool perspective. Now, if you look at this map, and I'm not going to pull it up on the camera, but what I think is crazy is 75208 pops out as light green.
Where everyone else, we're looking at this, everywhere else is that dark green.
Right, I mean, you see it right here.
And-
Yeah, it sticks
Yeah.
out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
That's not ideal.
It's
well,
not
and,
ideal,
when you think of Oak Cliff, everyone's like, oh, North Oak Cliff, a little more well off.
That's
I don't
interesting,
know, it's
Andrew.
kinda-
yeah.
Yeah,
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
What comes to your mind when you hear this?
Well, so the reason I've mentioned my buddies who are so generous is because obviously generosity does
Absolutely.
exist
Yeah.
in 75208.
Right.
And I think the ratio, there I think is probably higher. I think these guys give they give a lot. But if you think about 7528 and all the development and all the changes that have been coming in, there's
The
people,
wealth that's being built there.
there's people, there's apartments being built for one. So you probably have to account for the transient nature of people renting and maybe they live here, maybe they live the next time in Uptown or whatever. So there's probably some of that going on. But what I worry about a little bit is when I think about my own story, and I have all these names of people who have been building things, and listening to the History of Oak Cliff podcast episode that you guys did, thinking about what's been rebuilt from the early 2000s. I think a lot of these people are responsible for that, and for whatever reason they were driven to build. Yeah. And so when I see this pop of green, I think, okay, for all the people that are coming in and calling Oak Cliff home, are they continuing that legacy of building into the community? Are they continuing this sort of approach of let's build stuff that makes things better for our neighbors and for each other?
Yeah.
So I get concerned, actually, that people coming in for whatever reason, like I love that they love our neighborhood. How are they not consuming our neighborhood, but how is the neighborhood turning around and trying to influence or inspire them to want to give back?
Yeah.
Like, are people coming in and being a little bit more insular?
Yeah.
Are they coming in and being like, I found my little space and I'm just just going to be.
That's interesting.
It is
yeah. Like, how do you inspire like them? They're giving back in maybe different ways, like building a business or doing like volunteering at events and stuff. But like, even just like the idea of like, hey, there's so much pride for this neighborhood.
Right.
How do you connect in the right spots to monetarily give, or like, there's
that, like, the landscape of Oak Cliff has changed so much. It's that spirit of building.
Yeah.
I think it's still super strong.
Yeah.
But there is a new facet to it, I think, of like, oh, this is a cool place and I just want to be there.
Yeah. And you forget, maybe it's like, hey, there's needs, and like
sometimes sometimes that doesn't always come with the I'm gonna help keep building it too. It's like, I'm gonna just enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get some mezcal and tacos.
Yeah, and so it's a slightly different tune for Oak Cliff to figure out how to weave into its
it's a mature
story
thing. It feels like maybe a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I don't know. I mean, I when I was listening to your podcast.
Thanks for being a listener, Andrew. There we go.
Well, but it was really interesting to hear, the ebb and flow of the community. And you guys were talking about the tension. I can't remember the line, but it was like, Oak Cliff, the story is the tension, and you rightfully brought up people being afraid of, old stuff getting torn down to be built over with new stuff. And that is scary. But like, what if what's being built is attracting people that are on this page?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what if there's something about the neighborhood that they're attracted to, or they're like, I can go build something there.
Yeah.
Right.
That's less scary.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Than people coming in to just drink mezcal and have their tacos. That part's like, well, they're going to come and then they're going to move on to the next flashy thing.
That's sort of a fad.
Then we're going to be left with an empty building. And that is scary.
That's a different kind of thing, though. That's a different problem.
Well, that's interesting because you're like, I see this group of people and the impact that they've made, but you're also like, okay, is some of this get continued in some ways, or does it, like the streetcar line? Thank you, Jason, for helping get that in. Like, does someone come in and help make that streetcar line go down Jefferson and go down? Like, do you continue some of this stuff with giving and vision and who's doing that? I think there's still a lot to be done here. And when I see the generosity on the map too, you're like, there's a lot to be inspired still.
Mm-hmm.
Too.
I mean, I don't know how any of this is done. I don't know the answer. I do know
it's a good conversation.
that if you think back, or again, I've only lived my experience. And so if I look back at like, what are the characteristics that were present when I lived here, and how can we take those characteristics and cultivate or foster them now? It's like what you guys said, communities coming around each other saying, you should do this, you can do this,
right?
Why don't you meet this guy, why don't you try this? So enter Go Cliff, these neighborhood events, these things that they don't just give identity to the community, they actually breeding
Bringing
grounds
people, yeah.
for relationships
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
to grow. And how are the restaurants and the bars and the places where people go, like, how are they fostering connections?
Yeah. Come down to 75224, guys. The zip code below.
Hey,
no,
I
I know. We need it in every part.
I know.
I like what
I
you're
know.
saying, though,
I
Doug.
know, I know.
I mean, what I hear you saying, Andrew, is like you're kind of in some ways posing a problem, I think, that needs an answer specifically forward-looking. Like, how does the current Oak Cliff crew, the past Oak Cliff,
who's received so much,
well,
done a lot
and they
too.
built so much, like they built
Yeah.
every, what we
successful businesses
so enjoy. What's the next phase look like? And I think what I'm hearing is like, man, there's so much that now can be given back, and then that spirit can be kind of cultivated again and again with new people. Because you're right, I think that's something that has to be done. It can't just you can't just expect that to happen.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it requires care. I mean, if you think about a lot of the things and the people that have built things, so some of the things that they built have lasted, some of the things that have been built have not.
Yeah.
Some of the people who have done the building are still here and some of them are not.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think there is a through line for all of it, which is you give and you give and you give, and then at some point you're like, I can't do it anymore.
Totally. Yeah.
So what happens there? You know,
Yeah.
like are the people that are coming into Oak Cliff now, again, is it on them to give to the people who have given, or is it on us to keep digging deeper and saying, you know, it'd be really great is if you could build.
Yeah.
You know, if you could be a builder, or are you encouraging other? Are you encouraging your neighbor? Or are you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
like
I don't know what the answer is, but I know that I think, again, my experience, who are the next group of people that get written down on the next page of this book?
Yeah.
What are they building, and how are we, the old guys,
Working alongside them,
alongside them to encourage them? Like, build it, do it, keep going,
I think even putting yourself out there is helpful. Like for the younger people building stuff, it's like, oh, this guy cares. Like to connect even.
You guys have been building. I mean,
man, yeah, it's fun.
This
And
podcast
also,
has been great.
well, it's fun. We love that, and I think we again found, I think you found us and like-minded people like that want to build, and that it does require, it takes a certain kind of personality probably, but you cultivated that in us. So many other people have, and so it's like that you do have to kind of keep passing that thing along. But what you're posing is a big question. It's a big how do you connect those new and old people in Oak Cliff? Like that's a fascinating question.
No, it's an awesome question. And I think it's that question, but then also this group that has done so much, like how do you inspire them into generosity in some of these places too, is like another fun question to answer. So I love it, Andrew. I love it. Man, we need part 2 and part 3 of this.
Let's get them all together right here.
That would be cool.
We'll start with that.
Yeah.
Well, man, there's so much more we could cover. I think you're right, Doug. We have to go part 2 eventually.
Come on, bring it. I'll wait for season 4.
And there you go. Andrew, where can people find you, learn more about Track 15?
Track15.com.
Okay.
It's all there. And, we're trying to venture into a little LinkedIn presence.
There we go. You and Fernando Mendoza. Did you see that's...
is he on LinkedIn?
He doesn't post to any social except for LinkedIn.
That is wild.
I've tried like 3 things. I feel so weird.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I like it.
Man, such an honor knowing you and
guys.
just having you on the show, man. So...
Thanks, Andrew.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Hidden City. We hope you discovered something about Oak Cliff that you didn't know. If you enjoyed the show, I hope you subscribe to it on YouTube and then follow us on any of the podcasting platforms. Also, if you enjoyed it, please share with a friend. And thanks so much for tuning in.